Hi everyone, Anshita this side. Welcome back to AV Automation Hub. In today's video, we are going to learn about Postbot. What is Postbot? Postbot is your AI assistant for API workflows in Postman. With Postbot, you can troubleshoot your API request, you can write the test script, and you can write your documentation. This is free of cost for all the Postman plans, but it is limited to number of activities per each user each month. Now let's understand the features. Like I said, you can add API tests using Postbot. For example, if you want to write a test for verifying your status code, or if you want to save a field from response, you can use Postbot to do all these activities. It's really helpful. Using Postbot, you can also write your API documentation. For example, if you want to create a schema, if you have an API request, for that you want to write a detailed documentation, you can use Postbot. It is very helpful, very quick. Other feature is debugging the request. So using Postbot, you can also debug your request. For example, when running an API request, you're getting some unexpected error. So you can debug all this request with Postbot. You can also visualize your response data. For example, you have a list of users. You can visualize that data as a table, as a chart, or as a graph. If you want to see the linear graph. Last but not the least, you can also get some help from Postbot because it is trained on the Postman document content. And if you get stuck with any of the questions, you can ask Postbot. For example, if you want to ask about what is status code 429, what is status code 401, it will give you a detailed description about that. This AI feature of Postman is very helpful and it really makes you productive in your work. Now let's go to Postman and explore all these features one by one. I'm using a free plan by Postman. This is the Get Users API. So this API basically returns the list of users. Here, if you see in the scripts tab, there is no test written here. If you want to write a test using Postbot, so what you can do, you can either use this shortcut for opening Postbot, or from the footer, you can just click on this Postbot. If I click on this, let's add some text to this request. So what we can do, you just have to click on this and automatically the test would be added. First test is about checking the response status is 200 or not. Other one is checking the response time, then validating the schema, also checking the different data type of each field. So this is really very helpful. You don't have to write it manually. So manually, if you write, it will take you, let's say, 10 to 15 minutes. Or if you are new, it can also take you up to 30 minutes. But with this single click, it takes less than a minute to generate all the tests. Next feature is to visualize the response. So what we can do, let me just hit this API. And if you see the response, this is our JSON response in which we have the list of all the users. So what we can do, we can just click on the Postbot and we can just click on visualize the response and in which format you want to visualize, as a table, as a line chart, or as a bar graph. Let's select table for now. Now it is giving you the response in the tabular form. So this is the data for this core REST API in which I'm checking all the users. Next option over here is save a field from response. So let's click on this and let's see. So now it has added a test and it is saving the first user ID in the global variable. So how you can access the global variable? So click on the environment from the left panel and then click on globals. So here you see now there is no global variable added. If I hit the API again and go to the global variable tab, and here you will see a new variable is added at the global level. So that means test is working fine. So the test which is provided by Postbot, it is working absolutely fine. Next one is if you want to fix the test, you can also fix test. You can also add more test, right? And if you want to add documentation, you can add documentation. For the documentation, you can either select it from here, or what you can do, you can just click from here also. On the right side, there is this documentation tab. Click on the documentation. For this API, you can create a detailed documentation. What you have to do, you just click on this generate with Postbot, and this Postbot will generate this detailed documentation for you. You see, the endpoint is the get request that retrieves a list of users, and it is a JSON response array. It contains all the following properties. If you see the JSON response, ID, name, email, gender, and status. So everything it has provided, and it has also provided as the JSON schema. So this is really amazing. If you want to create a documentation for any API, you want to upload it on the Confluence page, You can directly create it from here using the Postbot. We can also get help from Postbot. For example, if you want to know what does a specific error code means, we can get that help also. For example, if I go over here and let's just ask some question, what does 429 status code means? You see, it is providing you the response also. It indicates the user has sent too many requests. So 429 is when there is too many requests. In that case, you get a 429 status code. So these are the features of Postbot, and it is a really game changer for API testing. It's really fast. We just saw now. It's incredibly powerful. And if you're not using Postbot, I'll recommend you to give it a try and see the difference because it will definitely improve your productivity in your project, in your day-to-day tasks. That's all for today's video. It is all about Postbot. What is Postbot and what are the different features of Postbot? How we can use Postbot for any of the API. So that's all for today's video. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon for the more updates from AV Automation Hub. And I'll see you in the next video.